Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the EIC podcast. Mike and Dustin with you again here. We want to talk to you today about lead nurturing. So if you don't know what that is, we'll get into it. If you don't have a CRM, then you don't know what we're talking about. But we want to postulate that that is a requirement. You need to have a CRM in which your leads are coming into. And then you want to nurture those leads along to sale. That's the 30,000 foot view here. A lot of folks focus on the lead generation part. We focus on that. We run ads and we do B2B lead generation, mostly via ads on an opt-in basis. So you get people and you get leads coming in, but then you need to qualify those leads and nurture them along. We've found that people who really don't have this set up well are not going to do well. So this piece, it's almost like not having a left arm and you're only using your right arm. You got to have the other side set up as well to really process those leads. And it's going to pay off, and we're going to talk about the dividends it's going to pay off. So this is a huge, huge piece, and a lot of folks are not doing this. So we're going to get into this a bit. We're going to talk about the lead qualification process first and how we like to classify those leads. And we'll get into technology, and then we'll get into some of the economics, and we'll get into finally what you can do to set this up other than give us a call and set up a discovery call with us. So Dustin, why don't we start with you defining the stages of leads that we've defined as leads come in, what those stages are, how we define that.
Yep. So the different stages that we have are, lead comes in, we get their information. Then typically they'll go to a marketing qualified lead. And this is where we know that they're not a bot. They are somewhat interested in what we're offering. They fit our audience profile. So they're qualified. The next one is sales qualified leads. So these are people that are going to pricing pages, they're downloading white papers, they're very engaged and engaging with content that leads to the buying decision. And so this would be SQL, and then lastly we have the closed one, and that's when the deal is done. And typically people will progress through these stages through lead scoring, and we define different points or give a point system for how they engage with different content through the website, through our socials, whatever it may be. So as they engage more with the content we want, they get more points, they progress through these different stages.
And if you're watching this, of course, you've probably heard of the acronym CPL, which is cost per lead. Well, we're here to tell you that there's a lot of nuance in defining that, and there are different parameters and different leads that are costed and scaled at different stages of this, right? So a vanity metric might be something like, I got a $5 cost per lead. Okay, what stage is that lead at? Is that a qualified lead?
Yeah, so since we have the different stages defined, lead, MQL, SQL, closed one, naturally the next step is to define the cost per lead or cost per stage in each one. So we have all of our ad spend data, we have all of our leads coming through. We need UTMs or ways to identify what channels these leads are coming through, but having a dashboard that shows the progression of each of these stages, the quantity of them, and what is the cost to get someone into one of those stages is key. That then helps you start figuring out how you can spend your marketing dollars more wisely. Google might be doing better than Meta, vice versa. There might be a targeting parameter. There might be a certain ad that ultimately is getting more of these people through the pipeline. And so having these defined, having them set up to pull in your ad data and your tracking will then unlock what does it take to get people through these stages. You then have the conversion rate through each stage, the cost. So now you have some KPIs that you can benchmark. And now that you have the all the different stages, you have the cost per lead. The next huge stage in making the performance better is identifying them through offline conversions in each of the ad platforms. So if you have all these in place, you're going to have some sort of automation to get these to Google Sheets or some sort of database. And so as you have that, you're going to pass all the ad parameters, send all that data to the ad platforms, and soon you'll be optimizing or having campaigns optimize towards close one deals, value or revenue based bidding, and those further down the pipeline. Very seldom do we actually look at lead gen and form fills anymore. It's more so down the sales pipeline or downstream that we're looking at.
So when we're looking at a true cost per lead, when we look at that, are we looking at that on the SQL level or the MQL level or both? Are we defining it as this is your cost per MQL and this is your cost per SQL?
Well, typically, if we have an abundance of SQL, we'll go there. We'll go the furthest that we can where we have more than just onesie, twosies. So, one client started with just form fills, then we got QL data. So then our North Star metric was that. And then as we started tapping more into the database and started getting SQLs, now we're getting SQL and closed one data at the same time. So here pretty soon over the next week or two, it'll be more acquisition and closed one, since we'll have different channels coming in. I think the key more so is understanding the conversion rate between each of these paths, and then that starts to help you identify where you need to work. If you're getting a lot of leads and none of them are getting to SQL, there might be, lead quality. I mean, if you're getting the demographics, if you're getting the right people, then it's just a matter of nurturing, and this is where the big opportunity is talking about what case studies do you have, testimonials, send them to different resources. We have this podcast, so we'll send people to the podcast and get them to engage theirs. Typically, it's when the lead comes in, how are we engaging them and telling our story before they get to sales? And most of the time, if you're passing leads to sales before that happens, this is where we're getting junk leads. They're nothing but junk. It's because there's been no nurturing. We haven't, taken them on a couple dates before we asked them to talk to our sales reps. So that's typically the big miss. And when you have them all mapped out, you have the data to identify where the gaps are.
Very important qualification there. Essentially, looking at the conversion percentage between each one of these is crucial because, as Dustin said, that's where you get to identify where your gaps in your marketing are or could be as well. Ultimately, folks, the goal for this is to get to cost per closed one. I don't want to lose sight of that. The ultimate goal and the holy grail here really is, what is my cost per closed one deal? This is why we drive this home so hard, is because we are a performance agency. If this equation isn't A, working out, or B, even measured, you're in trouble. This is where world-class measuring of these components comes into play, because if you're not doing this, you don't know. You're flying blind. You're sailing without any wind. This is why this back-end portion of this is so crucial, because otherwise you're flying blind. So you want to move it through these different stages and therefore be able to ultimately get to what's my cost per close one deal, but also, as Dustin just said, identify the gaps in your marketing. Identify what is a good lead and what isn't, and moving them through these stages. So from a tech implementation, tech stack perspective, Dustin, there's obviously a bunch of different CRMs out there, ways that people can do this, technologies that people can use to implement this. But let's give them the broad strokes, folks, of like how we set this up and how we implement this, so that basically the sausage making factory, how is the sausage making factory set up?
The CRM, we like to use high level. We've done it in Marketo, HubSpot, Salesforce, but having that sales pipeline identified and mapped out, lead, MQL, SQL, and closed one, that's first and foremost. Then as the sales team navigates these people through the pipeline, we use N8N, but you can use like Zapier or Make or any other automation tool that, when they go from lead to MQL, there's automation that takes all their data and puts it into what's next is a spreadsheet, some sort of database. We use, something simple, Google Sheets, there's Supabase, there's Airtable, there's a lot of different databases out there, but we'll take all of their information and then add a new row into the sheet. We'll also include the Google Click ID, all the UTMs, any piece of information that we can pull, we'll add it and then put it in the sheet. From there, we'll visualize all of it through Looker Studio to where we can then look at leads, the quantity of cost per lead. We'll have timestamps so that we can adjust the dates and look at any MQLs did we have last month compared to the previous month. How are they trending? So that's kind of the tech stack that we'll do to track it, store it, and visualize it.
We have another podcast on this piece as well, but obviously I did want to iterate this. Obviously there's humans involved at each stage as well, right? There's marketing qualifying the leads. That's humans actually qualifying the leads. Then there's sales either taking the calls or processing the leads. And then there's humans saying, this deal was closed. This is the deal value of that lead. There are humans that need to be involved at these different stages in order to track this, right? It's not all machines.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've talked about the number of touch points in 7, 10. I've been reading more and more lately that it's like 50, 60. So in order to get that many through a pipeline, you need ads, you need email, you need voicemail drops, you need humans calling, you have events that are set up, all sorts of things. The more components or more unique touch points you have, the quicker you can get to that amount of touch points that it takes for someone to actually do a deal with you.
Want to bring this full circle. All leads are not created equal. The lead number is a vanity number. I got this many leads. They're not all created equal. If you do not have this back-end filtering process set up to qualify the leads and to classify those leads as marketing qualified, sales qualified, and then obviously closed. If you do not have that set up, then all leads are created equal, and you're going to be in a bit of a mess because you have no way to qualify them. You have no filters through which you're putting these leads. And then, as we discussed already, you don't have the signals as to where you might be weak in your marketing efforts to move those leads along. So what did we say? Leads are vanity, pipeline is sanity. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Revenue is reality.
And revenue is reality. So if these pieces are not set up, get them set up, look into this, ask the tough questions, give us a call or set up a call with us and let us dig into this with you because, again, seems obvious. Many people don't have this set up. Crucial to move your leads through this type of process once they come in. Dustin, last word.
I'm a big believer that either growing or dying, and especially in business. And if you do not have this set up, you're dying. Your days are numbered. Your competitor is going to take market shares. So if you don't have this, be doing everything you can to get this system in place so that you can actually track and know what buttons to push, levers to pull to actually bring in new customers and bring it in more profitably so you can grow the business.
And know who you're talking to. Know who's good, know who's not, know what the difference is. Have this set up. If you don't have this set up, please click book a discovery call on our site. You can get to our site. It's all over the site. Click that button. That'll get time with Dustin and I. We'd love to dig into this and coach you on how to do this and obviously help you do this as well. So again, click book a discovery call. We'd love to get on a call and get into this, go through this with you. Subscribe to us, follow us wherever you might be watching this. We appreciate the time, and until next time, we'll see you on the EIC podcast in a bit.